Hello guys, I have come up with one video on 3dsmax. It's totally for beginners. So let me explain you what is 3dsmax. So 3dsmax is three-dimensional Studio Max. So this is a 3D application. So when I call it as 3D, what is 3D? So there are two things over here. One is 2D and other is 3D. So 2D is two dimensions, which is very flat. You get two axes. One is x-axis and other is y-axis. Whereas when I talk about 3D, 3D is something you get three axes, x-axis, y-axis, and one more axis you get over here. That's your z-axis. The z-axis is something we call it as a depth. So for example, the things which you see, which you can uh, rotate from all the directions and see the views, that's called as 3D. So this is a very powerful application, 3ds max. That's your three-dimensional Studio Max. So this application is being used for a lot of things, like it is used in architectural field. So when I talk about architectural, and we can say visualization. So architectural and visualization, it is used for games, creating games. It is used for, I can say, entertainment industry. So what is entertainment industry? It's like creating animated films, can be used for creating short ads, animated ads. That all this stuff can be created in this application. So let me explain you different parts of this application. So there are different things which we do over here. So very first of all, when I talk about this application, it is a very vast application, and it is Autodesk application. Autodesk is a company, and the application name is your 3ds max. So there are many other applications which are available in the market, like Autodesk Maya is there, Autodesk AutoCAD is there. There are many other applications. Mudbox is there, Inventor is there, Revit is there. So there are different applications with different work with it. So as for the beginner, let me explain you what you can do in this application is like. So very first of all, you can do over here as modeling. So what is modeling? We call it as a 3D modeling. So when I talk about 3D modeling, what is 3D modeling? 3D modeling is something like which you create in three dimensions. So it's simple as that. If I take this interior, you see this interior, you see this character, this is called modeling. When you create this whole character in three-dimensional, you rotate it, you can see it, visualize it properly. You can see this is a 3D character. So this you can easily create in this such 3D application like Max. So this is your 3D modeling. So 3D modeling is something like which you model this over here. Second thing which we have over here is your texturing. So when I talk about texturing is something like you assign the colors to it. In the simple terms, we say colors. So for example, when I talk about texturing, so this is your textures, the skin textures, the color on the t-shirt, all this stuff comes in the part of your texturing. The third thing over here comes, that's your lighting. That's a 3D lighting. As you see, what is lighting exactly? So lighting gives you good look and feel to the scene. So what is look and feel? As simple as that. Let me explain you something. In a room, if you light a bulb or tube light or whatever, you see there is a illumination. There is a illumination in the environment, like your interior or exterior or whatever. And the same thing over here also, we need to light the character to give it a good look and feel. So as simple as that, I can say to give a good look and feel, for that we use this stuff that is called lighting over here. After that lighting, we have one more thing over here, that's called cameras. So what are cameras? Camera is something like not a real cameras, but the cameras which are used in this application to give the view of the scene. So for example, you see with your eyes as same as that, a camera is a eye of the scene. So whatever you are going to create, definitely I'll be coming up with more tutorials on 3ds max. So camera is been widely used to generate the output to view from that particular angle or something. So it's the eye of the scene. After that, we have over here is like your dynamics and particles. So when I talk about dynamics and particles is something like you create some kind of smoke and fog or something. For example, let me explain you something like dynamics and particles 3D. So that's what your dynamics and particles, like you can create the fireworks, you can create the breakages and all this stuff which has been created. You want to create a smoke, you want to create a fire, you want to create a tornado. So all this stuff can be created over here in this. If you want to create some kind of dust particles, that all this stuff can be generated through this application. After that, we have one more stuff over here that's called rigging and skinning. So rigging and skinning is something like if you want to animate this character, you need to assign the bones into the character. As simple as that. For example, you have bones in yourself. That's the reason you can move your hands, legs, head, everything. So as similar over here also, you need to assign the bones to the character to give it, utilize it for the animation part. So that's what you're rigging. And the other part we call it as a skinning. Skinning is something like you attach those bones with the character. So we attach the bones with the character. That's called a skinning. After that comes is your animation. So animation is, in the simple terms, we can say, if I talk in a non-technical form, animation is something like giving life to a non-living object. That's called as animation. And if I talk about in the form of, I can say, technical, in the definition, I can say a sequence of frames which put together which makes up an animation. In a simple form, as you see that you used to use the flip book, right? If you have seen flip book, so if you see the flip book, you flip it and you see that there are some movements of the particular character. So you visualize it that it's moving, but it's not moving, but you have drawings on different frames. So when you pull it together, it makes up an animation. So that's an illusion over here which you see. But over here we create the poses of any of the characters for the expressions and everything frame by frame. That's what you'll be learning in the further sessions. I'll be coming up. And the last part over here is like rendering. Rendering is something like you generate the output. So whatever stuff you have created, modeling, texturing, lighting, all this stuff, you need to create an output over here, generate an output over here. That's what we call it as a rendering. So rendering is something like a final output which is generated either in the form of a video, either in the form of a sequence, or either in the form of an image. So that's what we call it. For example, this is also a rendered output. So before that, modeling, texturing, lighting, everything is done, and that's the final step which we have created in the production pipeline. That's your rendering. So these are all the things which we utilize it for any kind of a production medium which is in architecture and visualization, gaming and entertainment industry. So I'll be coming up with more tutorials on 3ds max. Thank you.